I've had two particular people come to mind that have had breakthroughs. One was a very thoughtful, almost sad realization from this person, extremely humble and vulnerable on their part to come to me and say, where does this leave me? I know that I'm supposed to advocate for others. I know I'm supposed to advocate for women, but I am a man of a certain age at a certain level within the organization if I am busy doing that for everybody else who's gonna advocate for me. And that takes a lot of courage for anybody to admit that, but for a senior leader and a white man in today's world to say those things out loud, I have been overwhelmed still every time I think about it at how amazing that exchange was. And I have seen that particular person give back in ways I don't think even he had envisioned capable of doing. And the conversation that day was around, one, me thanking him for trusting me and having that discussion. But two, me sharing that, today inclusive leaders are required to help companies go forward. And if he can lead differently, imagine what he can get from the people around him as a result. And his next job may be a job that doesn't even exist today. So you can't not lean in and do more of this work. It was really important. The other breakthrough that comes to mind was somebody who really, really didn't like the program at all. And had such a visceral reaction that our conversation was not at all a pleasant one. It was actually a quite angry one. And 6 weeks after the reaction and the program, I reached out to him because it was so bothersome to me that anyone would feel excluded in our efforts. And for me personally, in the role that I have with the organization. So I reached out first via email because I wanted to give him the space to react in the way that was appropriate for him, and said, look, I haven't stopped thinking about our conversation, but it's important for you to know that I'm here to do this work for you and for you to feel included as much as anybody else. So how do we continue to have the discussion? How do we continue the dialogue and not make it just be our one-off? That person and I talk now every 6 to 8 weeks. I reach out to him to pressure test some of the things that we're doing within the organization because he has provided the trust in me to be able to give me his honest reaction and to tell me when it feels as though it's too much, too fast, or if it elicits a defensive response. It doesn't mean that we don't go forward, but he has now become probably one of my personal biggest advocates and found a way to make this comfortable for him. I think the important thing about MARC, and we say it at the very beginning and we tell people, certainly the facilitators do a great job of this, of saying you share as much as you want to share, but I usually open the program or speak about it in a way to say, it's about meeting you where you are. And it doesn't mean that you're going to all of a sudden be converted and be a great champion and advocate just because you went. It might take you 3 weeks, it might take you 3 months, it might take you 3 years to fully appreciate the awareness that it's provided, but it always does something. And so those are the two transformations I would say are the real ahas and breakthroughs that stick with me every day.